Hello, Facebook. I'm here. We're live. It's Tuesday. Of course, we're doing it. Let's wait and see if a couple people come. I feel like I should put on some jams or something. I feel like I should have like a waiting room music vibe. Angie's here. First one here, sis. Hey, girl. It's nice to see you. I mean, I can't really see you, but I wish that I could see you. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Keep coming in. Kelsey's here. Hey, sis. I've not said congratulations on your wedding, by the way, but congratulations on your wedding. It's really amazing. I'm excited for you. Being married's pretty dope. Ooh, we got double digits in the room, folks. I can't believe y'all put this on your calendar and come hang out with me for an hour on a random day of the week in the middle of all this madness. That's pretty crazy. That's pretty dope. Just gonna wait a few more minutes for a few more people to come. We're hanging out. It is legit snowing for the third day in a row here in Minneapolis today. It's a mix of sun and snow, which makes me happy. Debbie Douglas Roth is here. Hello, sister. Snow really does make me happy. It's one of my favorite things on earth. I grew up in Minnesota, so you either have to love the snow or you move anywhere but Minnesota. And snow in April is just sort of part of the deal of growing up in Minnesota. But I do miss walking outside now that I spend so much time outside, at least try to go outside every single day. The snow is cramping my style a little bit, but it's still so beautiful. I am not mad about watching the snow fall. Look at all the people here. We're in the 30s now. Hello, sisters. Welcome to Tea with Tina. I can't do a ham horn, but if I could, I would. I'm glad that you're here, everybody. I hope that you are healthy. I hope that you are safe. I hope that you are as sane as humanly possible in the madness, especially I know some of you have little kiddos at home and are trying to be a lot of things for a lot of different people. And I'm just sending you some love and some strength and some patience today. I'm not really a very patient person, so I don't know how I'm sending patience, but I'm going to try to will it for you because I can only imagine how complicated it is to have kiddos and all of this. I also hope everybody's family and friends are safe. I know we're getting to the worst 2 weeks of it for us here in the United States, and so I'm hoping that you are all safe and happy and healthy. I thought today that we would have a conversation. This is one of my favorite things about getting to do this is that we get to try to have new conversations. So some of the stuff we've talked about is stuff that I talk about in my job and career all of the time. And it's also time for us to try to have different conversations for me, things that I don't normally talk about, but I think it's important and matter and maybe ponder a lot on. I'm also in the process of building the blog part of my website, which is dope. So a lot of the things that I get to talk to y'all about, I can then write about and put on the blog. So anyway, it's a cool opportunity to talk about new things. And something that I think an awful lot about when it comes to my friendships and relationships with women is jealousy. And it's something that has just sort of become an expected part of our relationships with women. So we don't talk about it an awful lot. And I think we need to. Because I am a feminist. Okay, I love women. I literally preach to women all over the country about how important it is to have women in your circle. I believe that women need women. I believe that friendships and powerful relationships with women breeds confidence and worthiness and it makes us feel better about ourselves in the world. And even though I know that to be true, there's this little tiny green monster that sneaks its way in the middle of our relationships with other women, and it's jealousy. I thought that I was sort of immune to the jealousy thing for a really long time. I didn't have friendships with women until my mid-20s. And so it wasn't even until I got to that point, by the time I got to that point, I assumed, or I felt like all my friendships with women were really positive and powerful. So jealousy wasn't a thing that I experienced very often in my life. I just assumed that I just wasn't a jealous person. Everybody experiences jealousy. I think that's one of the myths about it, that in order to experience jealousy, you have to be a jealous person. And that's not really a thing. I mean, there are people that are more prone to jealous feelings than others, but every single one of us, even the most secure version of ourselves, has the potential to experience jealousy. It's not a personality type. It's not a box we fit into. It's a natural human emotion that comes up for humans. All humans. Jealousy is not something that just exists exclusively for women either. Today, most of what we're going to talk about is the jealousy that exists woman on woman in between our friendships and relationships with other women. But trust and believe men experience this just as much. Everybody across the whole gender spectrum experiences jealousy. So, but I think for women, the reason I want to talk about it in the context of our women's relationships is because we live in a world where women are pitted against one another. At work, at school, during recruitment, at our places of worship, at Target, like this underlying competition that exists among women in most, if not all spaces, lends itself to jealousy, creates spaces for us to start to feel jealous. But let's back up. What do I mean when I say jealousy? Here's what I mean. A woman in your life and or on your social media has something, anything. You want that thing or some version of that thing. A promotion, money, a relationship, whether it be friendships or romantic, family, a specific body type or a look, a physical look, maybe a perfectly curated Instagram or a side hustle, a talent, children, no children, a home, stuff, vacations, travel, whatever it is. People that you see in your world have things that you don't feel you have, but that you want. Because we want it, and because we see that she has it, we feel jealous. In our relationships, when we actually know who these women are, the jealousy then manifests itself in different ways. Sometimes jealousy makes us be cold to one another. Sometimes jealousy is the reason we're passive aggressive to one another or fake, right? Like this is some straight up mean girl stuff where you're like, oh my God, I love your skirt. Ugh, can you believe she's wearing that skirt? This is when we start to talk shit about other women, when we feel jealous of them or envious of their life. We tear her down. We talk about how she doesn't deserve that promotion, how you can't believe this person is dating her. You can't believe she was voted into this chapter. We tear her down because of it. We mute her on social media, sometimes even in our real life. We just cut her out because seeing what she has makes us feel so uncomfortable and gross that we just can't. Or especially if it's jealousy for people that you don't have interpersonal relationships with, we just carry it around. We just carry around this gross feeling of wanting, of comparison, of discomfort. It happens in romantic relationships. We know this. When people think of jealousy, that's sort of the first thing we think about, right? In a romantic context, if you are jealous, it's because the person you're jealous of has your partner's affection, attention, attraction, whatever it is, right? In your work relationships, it happens because they have a position or money or respect or authority that you don't have. That whether you want it or you don't believe they should have it, that's where it starts to bubble up. It happens at places of worship, at Target, at the gas station, every single version of social media. It happens. Maybe you're at Target and they have clean, well-behaved children and you are jealous that you do not. Or maybe they have no children and you're jealous that they don't have children. It happens all the time. When you feel jealous, you're not a bad person. You're not a bad woman. You're not a bad friend. You're not a bad partner or spouse or parent. You're a woman in the world. In a world that very carefully created itself or was created for us to feel that way. We live in a world where we are taught to compare ourselves to other women and to compete with other women. There's so much research about why jealousy exists in the workplace or why toxic relationships exist in the workplace among women. And more than any other thing, it came back every single time to competition. There's only so many women allowed in the C-suite. And so we're all vying for the very same spot. And it's that kind of comparison, that kind of competition makes us feel like crap. And seeing other people succeed and we're working our tails off makes us feel like crap. You're not a bad person. You're not disrespectful. You're not feminist. You don't not love or care for women. You're a person in the world. You are a woman in the world, and it is perfectly natural. It just can't be permanent. You are allowed to feel jealous. It just can't be a permanent fixture in our lives. Not because it's unfair to these other women who are living their lives and trying their hardest, although yes, it is unfair to those women who are working their hardest and trying really hard. But that's not even the reason why it can't be permanent. It can't be permanent because you deserve better. We deserve better. We don't deserve to feel jealous and uncomfortable and insecure all of the time. Nobody deserves to feel like that. You deserve better. And I don't mean better friends who aren't going to make you feel jealous. Better friends. That's not what I'm talking about. Because jealousy isn't about your people. Jealousy isn't about them. It's not about her money. It's not about her beauty. It's not about her family. It's not about her body. It's not about her freedom. It's not about her promotion, because it's not about her. Jealousy is about you. Jealousy is about us. I told you that I thought that I was immune to this jealousy thing. Like, oh my gosh, I'm Tina and I have nothing but healthy and friendly relationships with other women. False. Nobody's immune to it. Even I believe the most secure person in the world still has days where they can feel it. And I recently learned quickly that I'm not immune to it. I was scrolling on Instagram and I came across a friend. She's a mutual friend of mine and James's. I came across her Instagram page. James and I want to be parents. James and I really want to be parents, but we're not there yet. And we'll get there eventually. I believe that we will, but we're not there yet. And I was scrolling and came across this friend and her pregnancy announcement. And it was this beautiful celebration. It was this joyous, exciting, amazing miracle she was celebrating with the internet. And I was mad. Yeah, I was mad. As soon as I saw it, I rolled my eyes and kept scrolling. But I was still mad even though I scrolled past it. Dropped my phone, walked away. It ruined my day. Her announcement ruined my day. She ruined my day. Lies. That's not true. Because jealousy isn't about her. It's about me. It is not about her and her miracle. It is not about her and this journey she's on. It's not about her announcement. It's about me not having something that I want. Seeing other people have things that we want serves as a reminder that we want it. That's why social media is such a hotbed, like this toxic birthplace of jealousy, because you see people having things that you want, and seeing them have it reminds you how much you don't have it, how much you do want it. Especially right now, right? Like as the world is falling apart around us, as we are stuck at home, as we are, some of us have spouses working on the front line, some of us are, there are so many ways to compare ourselves and the way that we are handling this. Some people are producing and creating and building businesses and remodeling their homes, or at least cleaning their homes. And some of the rest of us are still sitting on the couch looking at a half-done puzzle being like, we want to be productive. We want to be remodeling or cleaning the house. We want to be doing goodness and all of this time we're getting back, but we're not. And seeing what somebody else is doing reminds us that we're not doing it. It makes us feel bad about ourselves. But my feelings of jealousy are about me, my insecurities, my mental or physical blocks, my discomfort. Jealousy lives in the gap between what I want and where I am, right? I'm over here. There's a river, and what I want is over there on the other side of the river. And I see all these people on the internet hanging out on the other side of the river. experiencing, doing what I want, and I feel far away from it. That gap between where I am and where I want to be is where jealousy lives. It lives in comparison and me saying, I wish that was my life. I wish that was mine. I told James later that day, James is my husband. I told James later that day how I was feeling about this pregnancy announcement. I was just like, ugh, I know this isn't right. Like, I don't feel good about this, but I'm so jealous. Like, that is the only way to describe how I feel. I'm just jealous. And you'll learn this as I continue to tell stories about my husband. He's like obnoxiously a good person, like irritatingly good, like the literal best. Ugh. And I told him this, and he listened to me with kindness and empathy, and let me get all the way through it. Didn't cut me off, didn't stop me, let me process all the way through it. And then as soon as I finished venting about how jealous I was of this announcement, he looked right at me and said, Tina, you have no idea what she and her family have gone through to get to where they are right now. You have no idea what her journey looked like. Well, shit. He was 100% right. He's right all the time. It's really irritating. I have no idea. We have no idea what most people we are jealous of have gone through to get that thing that we want. That promotion at work, you have no idea what kind of tasks she had to do, what kind of relationships she had to build, what potentially kind of uncomfortable position she was put in before she was allowed to advance in the company. You have no idea what she's been through to get there. You have no idea how many crappy relationships that person has been in to arrive at being in love and happy and to have that kind of relationship that you wish that you had. You have no idea what she had to go through to get there. You don't know what her journey is. You have no idea how many fertility struggles she went through before she got to make that pregnancy announcement. We don't know. We look at other people's bodies a lot on Instagram. We follow these accounts that we call motivation, but they really just serve as shame. And we follow these people and their health journeys, and we get jealous and envious of the fact that they've been able to lose all this weight or get so fit. You have no idea what her journey was to get there. You have no idea how long it took her, how many diets she tried first, how much body shame she had to crawl over. We look at people and say, gosh, she's so skinny, I'm so jealous. We have no idea if she's recovering from an eating disorder and she's actually actively trying to gain weight while we sit over here envious of her ability to keep it down. We don't know what somebody's journey was, which is how we know that jealousy isn't about us. It's about somebody else. I said that backward. We know that jealousy is not about her because we don't know what she's been through to get there. Jealousy is about us wanting things that we don't have, or seeing things that we are not sure that we're worthy of. Jealousy can teach us a lot about ourselves, right? Jealousy in that moment taught me that those conversations about starting a family, those steps, those processes, whatever that looks like for me and my partner, are maybe getting closer for us. Maybe we're inching toward starting to have a conversation about having a family. Maybe we're ready to take steps. That's what I learned about myself that day. It teaches us about what we want. It teaches us about what we wish we had. It teaches us about what we think we deserve. Maybe what we're afraid to say we want or deserve. I'm not saying don't feel jealous, okay? That's not feasible. That's not reasonable. That's not possible. But what I am saying is that I think we need to start catching ourselves when we do feel that way. When you find yourself feeling envious or jealous of somebody, when you find yourself talking trash about a woman, I want you to explore why that's happening. Maybe it's that you just don't like her, or you don't like the way that she shows up in the world. And if that is the case, then we're going to have a whole nother conversation on one of these about how to acknowledge that you don't have to like every woman, but you don't get to treat them like trash. But honey, that's a whole nother conversation. So we're not going to do that today. Maybe the reason we're talking trash about her is because we're envious. It's because we think she's prettier, skinnier, more popular, more deserving, more worthy than we are, and that makes us feel badly about ourselves. I need you to catch it when it happens. I'm not asking you to erase it because that's not human. You are allowed to feel anything, but certainly envious in a society that asks you to compare yourself to every other woman in her existence. But I want you to catch yourself when you do it. And when you feel that way, when you catch yourself, I want you to ask yourself, what is this teaching me about me right now? If you find yourself really jealous of somebody being quarantined with their partner right now, maybe that is teaching you or reminding you how much you want to be in love. How maybe you're starting to be ready to fall in love. Which is unfortunate because this might be the worst possible time to decide you're ready to start dating. Because you really can't do that. But when this whole thing is over, maybe what you've learned is that it's time for you to get out there and start trying. To join dating websites or to let your friends set you up or whatever that looks like for you. Maybe if you are watching somebody on Instagram with this body that you are like, God, I'm so jealous. I just want to live in a body that looks like that. You are certainly learning that the world has taught you that there are good bodies and bad bodies, which I don't believe there is. But B, maybe what it's teaching you is that you're ready to take some steps to take better care of your body. Maybe that health that you see in somebody else is something that you want, something that you can start to work toward. Maybe if you see somebody get that promotion at work and it makes you feel jealous, maybe it's teaching you that you're ready for more responsibility. Maybe you already knew that, and what it's really teaching you is that it's time to take actionable steps, to have meetings with people who can help you figure out how you can advance forward. I just think jealousy could be a good teacher. And if we acknowledge it from that perspective, if we feel it happening in our body and in our brains and in our hearts, and then we make choices to acknowledge and ask ourselves, what is it teaching us about us? Then it allows us to let the feelings, the gross feelings that exist between women go away. Because I was able to acknowledge what it's teaching me, or because my husband was able to help me acknowledge what it was teaching me about myself, I now can be thoroughly joyful for her about her pregnancy. Because I am. Of course I am. It's amazing. It's so special. But now I can figure out what my next step looks like. I can allow myself to feel joy and excitement and connection with her and simultaneously work on the things that I want to work on. There's a way for us to continue to have positive, wonderful relationships with women, to be happy when we see other women succeed. We can share all the memes we want all day about being a woman who fixes another's crown without telling the world it was crooked, or women should support and empower women. And yeah, all of those things are true. All of those memes are true. But if we don't examine those moments of jealousy and comparison and competition in our own relationships, then not enough memes in the world can get us to a place where we can appreciate, support women. Acknowledge your jealousy. Let it exist. But let it exist to teach you something. Not to serve as a wedge between what could be a really badass relationship with you and another woman. So, that is what I have for you. And I hope that it helps us start to think about closing the gap between where we are and where we want to be. But I know that there's a lot of, this is a nuanced conversation, right? Like my examples might not make sense for you, might not identify with you. Your workplace might be different. Your family life might be different. I don't know. So I would like you to teach me about that. So there's always question and answer time. If you're done and you got to go, then I hope this was helpful, and I hope it made you think about something, and I hope you have a lovely day. But if you want to toss something in the chat about a question about how to reconcile jealousy in your friendships and relationships, or if you want to offer people ways that you've been able to help close the gap between what you want and where you are, if you want to throw something in here, that would be really helpful for other people. I find that's my favorite part about the comments every time we do this, is that I feel like the comments help other people. Like other women see you comment and they're like, oh my God, thank you. I'm not crazy. Because you're not. We all struggle with this. So toss some stuff in here. Let's talk to each other about this. And if you got to go, thanks for being here. I hope you're well, and we'll be back next Tuesday. Alicia threw something in here. Hey, Alicia, how are you? I definitely struggle with what I want in the future versus what I have now. Sis, me too. I don't know if it's possible not to in a world of social media. You know what I mean? Like, and here's the thing. I am aggressively fortunate in my life, right? I have so many things that I want. But that doesn't mean that there aren't things that I want that I don't yet have. And the internet is an excellent tool to remind me of the things that I want and don't yet have. And then we feel like bad people for wanting things that we don't have, right? Like I play this game in my brain with like, well, I'm so fortunate, so I probably shouldn't be jealous of anybody. It's like, well, that's just like comparative suffering, right? It's like using gratitude. It's like, because I'm grateful, I'm not allowed to also be a little sad or jealous. Does that make sense? Does anybody else do this? Like, well, I should just be grateful for what I have. Of course you should. Every one of us should be grateful for what we have. It doesn't mean you can't want more. It doesn't mean you can't dream and wish and hope. And yeah, I don't know. I totally feel that. I'm trying to accept that it's okay to want things and to let those teach me lessons instead of make me feel like shit about myself, you know? So. Oh, hey, Justeric. Kate says, how would you handle a situation at work when a colleague is treating you poorly and you suspect it's because she's jealous of your success? Sis, I thought somebody was going to ask this, but I didn't want to assume. It is blizzarding outside. This is a really challenging spot to be in. To be getting success in your workplace, to be the one that is advancing and moving forward, and you find that other women or other humans that you work with are envious of that, or are treating you poorly, and you suspect that it's because they're envious of the way that you've been able to move up or be successful. It's hard to reconcile. I think the right place to start is empathy, right? Like, put yourself in that person's shoes. And if you were watching that human climb, be successful, how would you feel? Because I think that can give everybody a little bit of grace, right? Like that makes it make a little bit more sense. There's an article on Forbes Women that I just read as I was thinking about having this conversation with you that talks a lot about this. There's a whole bunch of strategies. One of the strategies is about finding a mentor that you can trust, is about making sure that you have allies in the workplace. One of the suggestions was emotionally detach, which if you're capable of that, get it, but that is just not the way my brain or heart works. I am not capable of emotionally detaching myself from those things. So I say this all the time to collegians when they ask me like if they have a sister in their chapter or in another chapter that they really don't get along with and they're having a hard time figuring out how to fix it. We have to start with a conversation, and not like a, why are you mad I'm being successful conversation, but like a, hey, can we grab coffee and just get to know each other, just hang out, even if it feels foreign or weird. I think Brene Brown says it's hard to hate people up close, and I think that is aggressively true. So I think if people can start to see us as real humans, then they can start to feel a little less uncomfortable around us. I think if we start to see humans as actual human beings, we start to feel less uncomfortable around them. If you try interpersonal advancement and there's no relationship building that's happening, if you try to put yourself in her shoes and it still doesn't help make sense, then the emotional detachment might be the right thing, right? Then maybe you do need to be like, you know what? I'm not going to let that person and their existence make me feel bad about what I'm doing. All we can do is try to understand and try to be kind. And what they do with that understanding and kindness is on them. Also, keep crushing it at work because you're worthy of that and you deserve that. What else we got here? Oh, Bets. Hey, Betsy. Duality of emotions is always hard, right? Yes, very complex. Yes. Yes, comparing ourselves to, like, in the COVID world, right? Like, I've been doing it. Y'all, my husband and I do the same job, okay? And we don't normally live in a comparison space because, frankly, we do differently. I talk to women, he does not. Not that he doesn't, he just talks to different audiences. But we also travel so much. We live almost independent lives sometimes. We're just like literally high-fiving each other on airplanes. Like, we don't compare ourselves a lot to one another until we have to live with each other in this apartment every single day and watch one another's productivity happen. And as I told you in another version of this Tea for Tina conversation, I was feeling really frozen and really stuck. And he was sitting right here at this spot, crushing it. The man has put out like 3 or 4 videos to help people cope with COVID. He's hosted several webinars with like hundreds of people showing up. He's reaching out to his clients, he's killing the game. He's killing the game. He told me that several of his, if any of you who are Strengths Quest or Strength Finder fans, 4 out of 5 of his strengths are futuristic, includer, activator, and positivity. So the man is wired to plan for the future with hope, which is what needs to happen right now, right? So he's over here crushing it, and I'm the girl sitting on the couch with a half-done puzzle watching Boy Meets World being like, why do I feel unemployed when we own the same business and we do, like, there was so much comparison. And I had to like take a couple days off of work and let myself finish my puzzle and keep watching Boy Meets World to be able to give myself the freedom to not compare myself to him, because we're different people and we're functioning differently in this. And we can't possibly be expected to function collectively and similarly in a completely unprecedented thing that nobody knows how to manage well. Nobody is managing it better or worse than you. We're all just managing it. And I had a really hard time accepting that and not comparing myself to him and the rest of the internet. So yeah, that part is no joke. What else we got here? Abby Wambach's book Abby Wambach's Wolfpack book is so dope. I read that in like one afternoon. It's less than 100 pages, but it is so articulate and to the point and talks a lot about that. So you should absolutely read that book. It won't take you long and it's amazing. Hi, Carly. Women's World. Yes, I'm obsessed with it. Laura Roof's here. Hey. Okay, friends, I don't know if you have other questions. If you do, I will be here. I'll sit here for the next several minutes, but I just, I hope that you give yourself a little bit of a break and a little bit of grace as you find yourself with these feelings of jealousy, especially as you scroll on social media. But I also hope that you give the other women in your life a break, because they are out there trying as best as you are. And we only see the highlight reel on social media. We don't see all the things they went through to get there. So try to give everybody a little bit more grace, including yourself. And then let's start working toward the things that we deserve in our lives, because all of that happiness, all of that health, all of that love that you see somebody else experiencing, you are worthy of. So I hope this was helpful. I hope that you're healthy and safe. I hope that you are either also surviving a blizzard with me in joy, or that you are enjoying some safety and some weather wherever you are. And I hope that you have a really great week. I think we'll put out a poll next week to see what y'all want to talk about. So come back to Alpha Gam's IHQ page and vote, so we can make sure that we're having conversations that feel relevant and helpful to you right now. But thanks for being here with me today. I care about you. And I'll be here for a minute if you want to talk. Thanks, everybody. Oh, Leanne, sorry, I'm just seeing your comment. Yes. Feeling guilty for being promoted is so real. Feeling guilty for your success because other people don't have it is so real. That is 100% valid. And gross, because like you said, you worked your tail off and you should be able to celebrate and be joyful that you were recognized for all the work that you put in. Yeah, I don't know that there's an easy bow to put on that. Especially because the comparison at the office is a very real thing, right? So if you like ran around and were like, oh, I got a promotion. Oh, I worked so hard. Oh, I so deserve this. Oh, pop some champagne. People would be so irritated with you. They would roll their eyes at you. They would talk about you when you weren't around. Like people, it's almost a little bit like it's an act of self-preservation a little bit to be able to be like, oh, okay, thank you. We as women do this a lot. We just like downplay our successes and our victories because we don't want to make our friends uncomfortable. For our collegians in this conversation, it happens a lot with academics. Like if you're in a class with your sisters and you do really well on a test and they don't, you're like, I did fine. Or you like downplay it, you like shrink yourself because you don't want to make other people uncomfortable. Which on the one hand is a very kind thing to do. And women are often inclined to choose the kind humility thing to do. But if you've not read Glennon Doyle's Untamed, I'm still going to continue to tell you that you should, because there's a lot in there about being humble and being modest, downplaying. Because what it really is shrinking yourself. It is making yourself smaller so that other people aren't uncomfortable. And women have been taught for far too long that it is their responsibility to make the rest of the world comfortable by making themselves smaller. And I don't know. I'm finding that I have less and less patience of doing that in my own life. Right? Like this is an aggressive example, but stick with me. I'm a plus size body, okay? I know this about myself. And I'm not ashamed of this about myself. But when I go sit next to somebody on a plane, it is very feasible that they would be uncomfortable or upset or irritated that my plus size body is going to sit down next to them. Is it my responsibility to lose weight to make the passenger that I don't know next to me on a flight more comfortable? Some people might say yes. I'm saying no. I'm saying my body deserves to fly on this airplane just as much as everybody else's. And I wish these seats were more comfortable and then I didn't have to, I don't want to touch you either, Steve. I don't want my body to touch you. I don't want to be anywhere near you, Greg. But these are our circumstances. And I don't know that I'm required. That's not true. I know that I am not required to shrink myself to make you more comfortable. So I think there's a line between being aggressively humble because you are shrinking yourself and being humble because it feels like the right thing to do. I'm never going to tell you not to be a kind person. I'm never going to tell you not to be comfortable or not to be humble because I think humility is of value. But I am going to tell you not to shrink yourself to make other people feel better because you are worthy of celebration. Speaking of which, congratulations. I hope you do feel great about yourself, and I hope there are pockets in your world where you are able to tell people that because you did deserve it. That's amazing. And thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate you for that. We are grieving, Julie. I know that's right. Oh, Bets. The difference between modesty and humility is from that Glennon Doyle book that I've been telling y'all about, Untamed. And modesty is like this giggly little like, I'm just really not that successful. Humility is about being connected to the earth. There's a Latin, like the Latin root word for humility has something to do with being connected to the earth. Having humbleness is about keeping your feet on the ground, right? It means your head has not gotten so big that you are now floating above the rest of us. It is that you know that your feet are connected to earth. I am capable of being connected to earth while still celebrating my accomplishments. I think the metaphor that Glennon Doyle uses in this book that I think is so real and true is that it serves no one for a tree to shrink itself because it's bigger than other trees. Right? Like no tree is going to grow less because it feels bad about it. Right? Like nothing in this world. It is not there's no humility in shrinking yourself for other people. It serves nobody for you to shrink yourself. It doesn't serve the world. It doesn't actually help the people around you. It might temporarily make people feel less uncomfortable, but it doesn't serve the world for you to shrink yourself, just like it doesn't serve the world for trees to shrink themselves. As long as your feet stay firmly planted on the ground, as long as you stay firmly connected with who you are and the humanity of it all, then you are allowed to celebrate yourself. You don't need to be modest. You can be humble and grow at the same time, is what the book talks about. So you should read that book because it is dope. Oh, hi, Jana. Today's topic was jealousy in women's friendships and relationships. You know, just super fun stuff over here on Tea with Tina. Just super fun stuff. Kelsey, what'd you say? Yes. Sister, I could do a whole other talk about being a plus size body on an airplane. I could write a book about that because it is a very, very real thing. And if you have not ever thought about it because you are not a plus size body, then I would encourage you to do some reading. Shrill is the book I would tell you to read. Lindy West's first book rocked my world and changed my life. It's the basis of the TV show on Hulu, Shrill. And she talks a lot about being a plus size body on an airplane. And for my plus size sisters in the room, it made me feel very seen and very not crazy. And like I wasn't the only person in the world having my experience. And for my non-plus size body friends, I think it taught a lot of people a lot of things. So I think it's worth a read. I should just do one of these that's literally all about the books that I think you should read. And not even because they're great, just because I think that they're important. I'm just going to tell you, read this, read this, read this, read this. But anyway, maybe we'll come back to that. So Kelsey, I see you. I've been there, sister. Oh, see, we've got etymology happening over here. Courtney, I can't believe you're here. These are deep, meaningful conversations for the rest of the world. This is amazing. When I was a house mom, yes, I was a house mom. One of the best jobs I've ever had in my life. Courtney lived in my chapter house, and we used to stay up late and have deep, meaningful conversations about life and being women in the world. I'm so glad to see that you're here. This makes my day. Oh, yep. Oh, Jana, I don't know if I'm saying your name right, but that is so real. Jana just commented, oh, a Tea with Tina book club. Into it. Jana just commented about feeling jealous of people who aren't taking the virus seriously, who are just like out living their life. I literally just saved a post on Instagram before I hopped on here. There was a bunch of women being like, we're still going to Target. We just want a little normal life. So we're going to buy sunglasses and whatever else. And I was like, I mean, ignorance is bliss, friends. It is blissful to not feel stressed. I would imagine that it feels lovely to not feel stressed about this virus right now. I don't believe that it is wise. And I think in the long term, I would rather feel scared now than blissfully ignorant / sick later. But I totally feel that, like seeing people out. Like when all those people were on spring break and I was like, oh, I want to be at a beach right now, but I also don't want to die and I don't want anyone else around me to get sick. So go home. So yeah, it's a weird mixture. I'm grateful that I'm taking it seriously because I think that's what's best for me and my family. But I'm definitely a little envious of humans that are able to live without all the anxiety and the stress that I've been feeling since this whole thing started. But I'm telling myself that bliss would be short-lived. That's what I'm telling myself. That's what's choosing to make me feel better about that. We could totally do this book club style. Abby, you're here. I owe you a text message. I'm gonna text message you as soon as I get off this thing, which is right about now. I hope that this was helpful, friends. I hope that this was great. I really appreciate you being with me. Again, I still can't believe that you take your time out of your week to come hang out with me, but I'm really, really grateful. And I hope that this was helpful and made you think about some things. I'm always available to talk. Like I said, I'm always happy to chat with you about these things. So follow me on Instagram. Tina Rae Van, RAE, is my Instagram, Snapchat, all of the social medias, Twitter, all of those things. That's also my website. So if you, like I said, the blog is going to be live in the next week or two. So if you want to get on the blog and read all of my musings about the world, you can totally do that. You can also email me at tina@tinareagan.com. I'll put those in the comments here so that you have that. But if you've got ideas about topics that you want us to talk about, I would love to hear from you. If you have questions about how jealousy, about COVID stuff and process, all of the things. I hope you've learned about me that I'm a very open book, and I would love to talk with you. So I'll throw my stuff in here so that you have my information, but let me know if you want to talk. Until next week. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. Stay safe and healthy. Bye, everybody.